I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 7th, 2016. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu concluded his four-nation Africa tour today in Addis Ababa. The Prime Minister met today with Ethiopian Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn and asked his counterpart for help in gaining the release of Ethiopian-Israeli citizen Abraham Mengistu, who in September of 2014 entered into the Gaza Strip and has presumably been held captive there by terror group Hamas ever since. Hamas is also holding another unnamed Israeli citizen in Gaza, as well as the remains of two slain IDF soldiers, Lieutenant Hadar Golden and Sergeant Oron Shaul, both of whom were killed in the war with Gaza just months before Mengistu's disappearance. Netanyahu also discussed with the Ethiopian leader efforts to bring the 9,000 Jews that still remain in Ethiopia to Israel and addressed the nation's parliament. A Palestinian woman was arrested this morning near the Tomb of the Patriarchs in Hebron in the West Bank. The woman was trying to enter the holy site when she was stopped at a security checkpoint and was found to have a knife in her bag. She was detained for questioning without incident or injury. And a security alert issued in Kiryat Arba in the West Bank was lifted this evening. A message had been sent to residents of a, quote, security event, telling them to stay in their homes, but later that was canceled. No further information of the nature of the security threat was released. It follows the Palestinian terror attack last week in the settlement that claimed the life of 13-year-old Hallel Yafa Ariel. The German government has agreed to a substantial increase in funding for the care of Holocaust survivors. An allocation of $600 million over a period of several years will be used to provide extended hours of home care for elderly survivors. Until now, there had been a cap of 25 hours a week for the community. Under the new agreement, it would be raised to 40 hours a week. The agreement was announced by the Conference on Jewish Material Claims Against Germany. Former Ambassador Stuart Eisenstadt, who headed the Claims Conference's negotiating team, said, "We commend the government of Germany for recognizing its continuing obligation to victims of the Holocaust, more than 70 years after liberation." He said Holocaust survivors now in their final years should know of our total commitment to trying to ensure they live in dignity with the help they need. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, July the 7th. At 7 o'clock, Rabbi Mordechai Becker of Gateways talks about arguing in the Talmud on the JBS original series, Dimensions of the Daf. At 7:35, a discussion of the history of the West Bank and suggestions regarding a future possible peace agreement with Rabbi Stanley Davids, Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Emmanuel in Atlanta from the JCC of Stanford. At 8:30 tonight, remarks from the son of a major Hamas leader who was recruited by the Mossad, Mossab Hassan Youssef. At 9, it's part 2 of a roundtable discussion led by Mark Golub with Stephen Boehm, Eric Yaffe, Betty Ehrenberg, and Thane Rosenbaum on various issues. That's followed at 10 by a debate between former Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz and Haaretz journalist Peter Beinart from CUNY Graduate Center in New York City on the topic of Is Zionism in Crisis? That is moderated by Ethan Bronner of Bloomberg News. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, Mark Golub speaks to Washington correspondent for the Jewish Forward, Nathan Gutman, who discusses Jewish support for Hillary Clinton in the aftermath of the FBI report criticizing Clinton on issues related to her email server. That's on tonight's In the News. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 7th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.